Kinyarwanda.
Kinyarwanda, sorry. Uburyo ni ubuhe buryo wabashije kwiyakira ukabaho mu buzima nyuma y'ibyakubayeho, ni gute wabashe kwiadapt uka
How were you able to move on in the community and adapt to what happened in the Rwanda society?
nyine urumva testimony yanjye ubundi igendanye
My testimony is based on the Rwandan history of the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994.
ndibaza ko ari naho wabonye testimony yanjye rero ntabwo ari ibintu byigeze byoroha na gatoya kuko
It was incredibly challenging to endure the loss of my entire family, leaving me alone.
ntabwo rero ari ibintu byari koroha cyane ko buri munsi anytime
Every day, I find myself in the void of not having a family.
umuryango ariko ikintu cyadukomeje
However, what has strengthened us is our country.
igihugu cyacu
Our nation taught us the power of forgiveness.
rwose tutanavuze mu magambo menshi
Without saying much, our leader, President Paul Kagame, showed us how to forgive even those who killed our family members.
uri hariya kandi yarakugize nyakamwe wari ufite umuryango rwose
This was an incredibly difficult move.
cyoroshye cyane ariko kagame we perezida wacu yaje
He introduced a reconciliation program which states unity.
asiyo yuko mugira ubumwe n'ubundi
Our government is usually called the Government of Rwandan Unity.
iyo ataza kuvuga ngo habeho
If he hadn't introduced the forgiveness program, our Rwanda would not have progressed.
mu mitima yacu n'ubundi u Rwanda ntaho rwari kuva cyangwa rugere ariko
But it provided us with peace and understanding.
hano twumva ko nubwo bwose batwiciye cyangwa jenoside yabaye
Even if they killed our families, we have learned to forgive and love.
agakunda ko ubu ngubu u Rwanda
Rwanda belongs to Rwandans as a whole, not specific ethnic groups.
ari u Rwanda rwo kuvuga ngo bamwe bariciwe yego ni ibintu
Yes, it may be challenging to adapt to, but our hearts are willing and pure.
imitima yacu yamaze kwakira imitima yacu yamaze kwakira imbabazi gutanga imbabazi imitima
As for me, I was the same age as my firstborn child at that time. Those are my children, and I was 11 years old back then.
11 time.
Okay, wenda nanjye ndakwibariza
I have a question for you.
ko watunyuramo in brief story.
Even when you were a child, you saw a lot of things. Can you give us a brief story of what you remember
y'ukuntu ibintu byagiye bigenda niba ntacyo
so that the people who will see this talk can understand what happened and those who might need to help you could know your story?
biye ni iyi mu buryo
Can you tell us about your journey, including how the story unfolded
yari imeze gute byagenze gute kugeza
and how you eventually became a mother of children, as we can see, and how you managed to move forward?
amateka ukabaho ugakomeza ubuzima bugakomeza.
During the genocide against the Tutsi, I was just a child, as I mentioned earlier. However, I was that child who could remember everything.
ariko ndi na wa mwana
The one who wasn't supposed to lose a family because life had to keep moving forward. The reason I survived was because of God. I hadn't spent the night at home.
nari naraye mu rugo ariko
It was the 6th of April during the Easter holidays, and I had gone to stay with my aunt.
noneho nza ku muryango wanjye kwa tante wanjye nza ndi umushyitsi
My aunt had 9 children, and including myself, there were 10 of us in total.
nanjye wari waharaye nari uwa 10 ariko ndagutangaza
However, I must sadly inform you that nearly all of them met with a tragic fate. 6 of them,
hanyuma njye
along with me and another child, managed to escape.
turahungana hanyuma
Fortunately, we found refuge at Gisimba's orphanage center.
ariko kuhagera nubwo bwose kwa tante wanjye
The journey from my aunt's home in the Nyabarongo neighborhood to Gisimba's orphanage center was a significant challenge.
urumva twebwe twabaga iwacu hari i Butama
My native home was in Baramwa, located in Kigali and Gali. I was in a very rural area, and when I came to town and encountered all those tragedies, It was a big challenge for me.
njye numvaga ntazi ibyo ari byo ariko kubera yuko ibintu bya
It was not just then that the incidents started. There was already abuse in schools, hatred, and much more before.
ihohotera yo mu mashuri amagambo mabi ibyo byose twarabibonaga ku babyeyi bacu
We used to see these issues among the elders, but we couldn't imagine that it would escalate to the level of genocide.
birenze rero njyewe bw'umwihariko
My experience during the genocide mostly occurred at Gisimba's orphanage center, because that's where I managed to survive.
nararokokeye twagiyeyo
The first time I went there was on April 7th.
zirindwi
When we arrived, we found a lot of people hidden there because they believed that no one would come to harm children.
kwica mu bana ariko ko bari benshi cyane
However, due to the large number of people, they announced that they were going to burn down the orphanage. After this announcement, everyone returned to their homes, including us.
basubiye mu ngo natwe dusubirayo ariko ntitwasubira aho nyine nari naraye kwa tanti wanjye bw'iby'iwacu biri yapari nyine
Instead of going back to my aunt's place, we sought refuge in someone's home who agreed to hide us.
tujya mu rugo rw'umuntu wagombaga kuduhisha w'inshuti y'uwo muryango
In that family, the husband was Hutu, and his wife was Tutsi. What pains me the most is that they were all killed, and no one survived, primarily because the man refused to involve himself in ethnic divisions.
so ubwo rero muri uko
After we returned, this became the reason my aunt and I had to flee.
njyewe na wa wundi umwe twarukanye wo kwa tante twavuye muri urwo rugo tukagenda
My aunt started experiencing trauma, causing her to talk excessively, even though she was holding a baby.
afite umwana noneho agakomeza akavuga ibintu byinshi noneho aravuga ngo reka
She then instructed me to go and check on her elder sister, mentioning that nobody knew me in the area.
wowe nta muntu ukuzi n'ahangaha noneho rero nyine
She also said that I could take one of her children with me.
wajyana n'umwana we nyine ndavuga ngo tujyane turajyana
We proceeded to the location, where we discovered that they had been killed.
bishe umupapa umugabo wa tante
The husband's body had been thrown into the toilet, but one child was left behind,
ariko abandi bari bari
while the others had all been taken to College St. Andre.
kwa n'isitori ndende nyuma twebwe twaje tugarutse gutanga
Upon returning to deliver the message to our aunt, we heard screams and decided to return to Gisimba's orphanage.
twajyanye duhita twongera dukomeza tujya kwa gisimba tugeze hano haruguru mu manukiye hari bariyeri tugeze kuri bariyeri
When we were about to arrive, we encountered a roadblock. They stopped us and discovered that they knew my aunt's child.
umwana wo kwa tante
They asked her if she was from there, but she denied it, claiming she didn't even know those people. She was younger than me, but by then, God had also gifted wisdom to children.
ntabwo rero twabashije
We were then allowed to pass the roadblock, and Gisimba, who was sitting nearby, called us over after seeing that they had let us through.
duhamagara abonye batubabariye
They said that if they killed us in the morning, we would curse them.
birangira
Afterward, we went to Gisimba's orphanage center, where Gisimba informed us that we would remain there. He explained that if people were to die, we would die alongside them, but if they survived, we would share in their survival as well.
kirekire
Our time at Gisimba's orphanage center was marked by prolonged and arduous challenges.
ni ubuhamya ni burebure cyane
Some days, they would come to kill us. It's a lengthy testimony, with some individuals perishing there, while others managed to survive.
Gisimba nubwo yarapfuye gisimba
In June 2023, Gizimba passed away,
ushize nubwo yapfuye ariko
yet he remains the country's hero, as he was Rwanda's first guardian of the ritual
uko yabaye
and saved over 400 people during the genocide.
ntabwo wakwibaza ukuntu yabigenzaga
You can't imagine how he did that, but it was a challenging journey.
yari sitiri ikomeye cyane
Picture 400 people in such a small center. Some were hidden in the kitchen ceiling, while others were locked in the storage room.
sitoke yarabakingiranye abandi ku buryo
Whenever an attack occurred, he was always prepared.
byose yarabishyize ku murongo hari n'abana yari afite bakuru
He even had older children in the orphanage who he had instructed to oversee and check on everything.
akagira akababwira ati mujye mucunga mumenye uko ibintu bimeze ikindi
There were many children, including us, and many other orphans who used to live there before.
twivanze nyine nta buhumekero buhari simba akababwira ati
Gisimba would inform the perpetrators that they wanted to harm the children he had adopted for them, causing them to hesitate.
kwikora mu nda ni abana banyu aba ngaba interahamwe zikagenda gutyo nyuma biza
Afterward, when they finally declared their intention to burn down the center and had surrounded the compound,
se nubwo hazaga wa muzungu
a man named General Romeo Dallaire, who served as the force commander of the United Nations Assistance Mission, came to our rescue.
natwe turi mu bo yatabaye
wo muri
wo muri UN yari yazanye amazi haleluya yari yazanye
He had come to bring water to the orphanage without noticing that many people were hidden there.
ntabwo babaga bazi abantu bihishemo ukuntu bangana noneho rero bagose ikigo interahamwe zose bakubitana n'uriya muzungu yazanye amazi y'abana
Hutu extremists encountered him, and he quickly alerted others, stating that innocent children were at risk of being killed.
byose aravuga ati abana bagiye kubaziza ubusa n'iki
We managed to survive that day. What was surprising was that Gazimba was not there.
yabaga adahari kuko igihe cyarageze nyine ibiryo birabura n'iki
Food became a problem, and he had to travel around searching for food to feed us.
agenda nyine avuga ko ari abana b'imfubyi bashonje rero yabaga adahari
Whenever he was absent and the attackers came, we felt like people who had lost their God. We compared him to our God.
niyo twabonaga ari imana yacu
Finally, the Hutu perpetrators discovered that there were many people hidden there.
ziravuga ngo ntabwo bizashoboka kubera yuko nyine igisimba abantu nyine interahamwe zikavuga ati abantu barimo hano ariko kugira ngo bamenye ko harimo abantu hari igisatelite cyajyaga kikamurika niba ari
They knew this because there was a large satellite dish that used to emit light, making it visible to everyone at the roadblocks.
abantu bafite amakuru cyarakubitaga ari nka nijoro hagahita hakaba nko ku manywa ku buryo abari kuri bariyeri ya hano n'ihariya bahita bareba abantu bose bari mu kigo umunsi umwe rero kimurika
One day, it lit up when a guy came out of the ceiling.
ngo wavuye muri parafo yo muri dushe yo muri cuisine ajya hanze
And at that moment, the whistles blew.
avuga ubwo
In the orphanage, there were small beds where the elderly residents would sleep deeply, while the small children sat on them.
iyo igitero cyazaga abakuru bararyamaga bagateberamo n'udutanda two muri interina
This arrangement allowed people to hide, making it difficult for anyone to discover their presence.
tubicaye nyine kugira ngo batababona noneho
Eventually, they deceived Gazimba by broadcasting on RTLM radio that he was urgently needed.
baravuga ngo baramushaka nyine nk'uko twaba turi hano tukumva radiyo baravuze ngo baragushaka
However, this ruse was designed to lure him to the radio station, while others planned to come and kill us.
bohereje
We were saved in that manner. Colonel Ranzaho, a Rwandan genocide criminal, was sent to rescue us from the Gazimba Orphanage Center.
badukuye hano
He transported us to St. Michael's Center, Colfranes.
cya nyiri
There was another orphanage owned by an elderly white man,
yari orufeni sinzi niba kibaho
but I'm unsure if it still exists.
uze musaza bitaga yezu bahita baduhuza nabo so hanyuma rero tuhamaze iminsi
After spending 2 days there, they dug holes in Lycée Notre Dame to separate the elders from the children. The Rwandan Patriotic Front in Cotonyi arrived, and that's how I survived the genocide.
wanjye hanyuma rero nyuma
After the genocide, I embarked on another tragic journey. Some people managed to find their loved ones who had disappeared during the genocide.
ariko muri bariya bana bo kwa tante
However, 3 of my aunt's children were forcibly taken to be married off.
abagore batwandikira
We were given documents that indicated my family, along with some others, had been exterminated. When I returned home, there was nothing left. I was told the heartbreaking story of how they were killed with machetes, and I never had a chance to see them again.
Yego, urakoze
Thank you for having the strength to share your entire story.
nashakaga ikibazo cya nyuma
I'd like to conclude by asking you about how you rebuilt your life,
uruhare leta yabigizemo,
the role that the government played in your journey, and the people you are most grateful to
baragufashije kongera kwiyubaka. Donc muri make
for where you are today. Do you still encounter any problems in your daily life or experience any lingering effects from your past that continue to affect you?
n'ayo mateka.
After the genocide, it wasn't easy at all. Not only for me, but for the whole Rwandan community. You can understand how it felt for me when others were reuniting with their families. I stayed in an orphanage for a while, and the family that adopted me gave me a hard time. Orphans faced many problems afterward, mostly from the families that adopted us. I experienced significant emotional distress that caused me to face difficult times, including suffering from trauma to the point where I couldn't attend school. And I found it challenging to describe the extent of my suffering. I even reached a point where I contemplated suicide, as you mentioned earlier. Some individuals, unable to find a solution, turn to drugs. Initially, I harbored deep resentment towards God and held a negative view of all religions, doubting the existence of a higher power. I grew up without experiencing true happiness. That's the very reason I developed a mental illness, reaching its worst point. I constantly experienced trauma, especially when I returned to my home and found bodies still scattered everywhere. The familiar routes had vanished, and I often had to ask for directions just to find my way back. I used to check on people by uncovering them or turning them around to see if I could find my family. But they eventually told me that they were all thrown into the Nyabarongo River. We lived in the lower part of Butamwa in an area called Burama. Honestly, it took me a long time to get used to it. I belong to a family organization called Imina, for those who were left without families. And there are many of us. Before, I used to think that I was alone, but later I discovered that there are many of us. Sometimes it happens that people can still find their family members after many years have passed. Last year, someone finally found their sibling. It's possible that you might have been classmates with your sibling without even noticing. In 2020, there was someone who found his two sisters. One of his sisters was his former classmate. But because that guy was young during the genocide period, they couldn't have known each other. During my difficult period, I grew up with little hope for life. I would go to school but still had doubts about why I had to be there. I thought I would amount to nothing and had no importance in society. One thing that helped me regain my energy was attending prayer services. I explored various religions, seeking solace everywhere. I once attended a school where they used to sing, and I decided to join them. That's when I discovered my singing talent. Whenever I sang, people liked it. After some time, I had the opportunity to sing in Germany. Meeting different people in society changed me. I was no longer as lonely as before.
nirirwa nigunze njyenyine numva ko ari njye byacitse bigatuma
I began to listen to others' stories, pray with them, and more.
nkumva ni byiza.
The main person I am grateful to is His Excellency Paul Kagame, our father. He successfully worked to eliminate ethnic divisions from our identifications. He is a gift from God, and I truly believe that without him, Rwanda would not be where it is today.
Nagiye hanze
Some of our friends who had gone abroad and returned after 20 years wouldn't recognize the changes.
ntazi kuyitwara mu modoka, so ni ukubera rero yuko yakuye
His Excellency Kagame has eradicated ethnic divisions, taught us to forgive, and encouraged us to love.
urukundo. Mana nyagasani singiye
As of now, I hold no anger toward anyone. In our choir, we sing together happily as one.
kuvuga ngo uyu ni umuhutu cyangwa uyu ni umututsi.
We are all Rwandans.
Hanyuma rero ahandi nagiye ngire kuvuga ngo nyuma nakuze nyine birumvikana.
After growing up, I got married. I wore bridal gowns, and I felt like a normal person again.
Udasanzwe kubera
Singing had made me more social.
abantu bakabikunda noneho bigatuma abantu
I met a lot of people, and that made them appreciate me.
basobanutse bituma ngira
I even made some classic friends too.
kubera bwa buzima ntazi bya
However, due to the challenges of modern life, I encountered problems with my husband.
wacu simba nshaka
I don't like to speak much about it because my children were deeply hurt by the situation.
kukomera bariya bonse amashereka y'ibikomere bariya barakomeretse
They were hurt to the point that my daughter developed trauma.
buri mwana umwe buriya yakubwira
They can share their testimonies themselves.
ntabwo byagenze neza nk'uko abantu
My marriage didn't go as well as I expected. As someone who had grown up in such a hard life,
bagomba kubona umuntu
I thought I would find someone to fill the gap in my life.
ntabwo ariko byagenze kubera
Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way.
kumusobanurira. So ubu rero nyine kwa bakaba
It has been 6 years since their father left us.
imyaka 6 yaradutaye ariko impamvu
Sometimes, I think that the main reason for his departure was my developing a severe mental illness.
kubera ikibazo ni ukuvuga ngo narwaraga umutwe cyane
I used to experience excruciating headaches, and whenever my husband did what he used to do, which I won't discuss, I couldn't handle it. I eventually told him that his actions hurt me more than the perpetrators who killed my entire family during the genocide. He was the one from whom I expected the answer to my life's questions.
mbonye atari
When it didn't happen, I began to blame myself and wondered if I had a significant flaw.
cyangwa sinuzuye donc bisa nkaho
I even started to think that God had created me for suffering.
ibyo bintu byarangiye biranshenjagura niroturuva
This had a profound impact on me, as I will show you in pictures.
ariko abaganga
After visiting several hospitals, the doctors informed me that my brain had displaced.
hanyuma ba
In 2016, I underwent surgery, during which they discovered that I had thrombosis.
ngubu iyo ndwara ya thrombose
Nobody lasts a year without passing away from it.
umwaka atarapfa ntawe ariko
But here I am, thanking God.
ni Imana hari ubwo birandenga
No one understands how I am still alive, not even the doctors.
hanyuma rero uko nakomeza
It continued to grow, and even now I am feeling tired from speaking this much.
byose mvuze
Yeah, probably fix.
so rero mu magambo makeya
In short, King Faisal Hospital Rwanda couldn't treat me,
njya mu we
so I went to India, where I celebrated the holidays.
asanga uyu mutsi w'iburyo
They discovered that my right vein was blocked, and it was due to thrombosis.
yarawufunze uw'ibumoso kubera ko ukora wenyine
The left vein became narrowed because it was operating alone and supplying insufficient oxygen to the brain, which caused pain.
mfite pain iri kuri turere so
I traveled to India to have the veins examined, and they discovered that they were situated in the middle and were thin.
kandi umutsi unyunyutse ku buryo umurwaza
The medical professionals then informed my caregiver that there was a risk of a stroke after the operation.
Imana yabikoze
Fortunately, I did not suffer a stroke, thanks to the help of God. They performed a catheter-based surgical procedure on me, passing a medical coil from my waist to my brain. I am on medications, and if I were to tell you to bring them here, you would be shocked. I take pills that prevent conversion, painkillers, sleeping pills, and I accompany them with stomach protection pills because of their strength. That's the life I am living.
Yeah.
Maybe they can bring them and show you.
I am at least happy to see that life continued for you. But as you told us, you have a talents as well as your children. I certainly saw your children singing a commemoration song.
Yeah, you never know.
I want to ask them to sing for us any song that they know. We never know, maybe one of our partners or anyone else, willing to help them develop their talent, can reach out. As you all know, school is good, but due to shortage of employment, a lot of people are surviving because of their talents.
Wenda mbere yuko dusoza nashakaga ngiye kumenya.
Before we conclude, I just wanted to ask where you are getting the financial support for your treatment in India. You mentioned that your husband left you.
Tubwiye ko papa wanadahari.
So I'm curious about how you are managing to survive. Is there someone who is helping you, or how are you meeting your basic needs, including food and other essentials?
Regarding treatments, I receive government sponsorship as a genocide survivor. As for my daily life, we rely on God. I used to live peacefully with others before facing these health issues. So people are still willing to help me in these difficult times, remembering my past involvement in society. But the problem is that, as I have an untreated illness, some of them get tired. I believe that each person has their time of appearance and disappearance, which makes sense to me because even my husband left me for that. As an example, remember I told you that I take pills to help myself sleep at 6 p.m., but because I've been taking them for a long time, I've become accustomed to them, and they've started to feel more like drugs to me. I take them, but I still stay awake sometimes, watching television, whereas before, I used to take them and immediately fall asleep. All of these pills you see go into my body. They are called Maghrib, which help me fall asleep. They are also known as Devapro, which prevents me from having seizures. These are for depression. This one is called Orifer, which increases the blood in my body.
For blood increment.
Livolin is for preventing fats from growing on the liver. This one is Lazo, which helps the left vein that has become thin to keep functioning. These are also for the stomach, which goes along with all those for helping the stomach, as a lot of acid has appeared in my stomach. I buy all these medicines myself. I order them from India. I was ordered to take the medication for depression because the doctor said these other pills were causing depression. He also added that I already had depression due to all the problems I went through.
How many of them do you order at once?
As of now, I have ordered pills that will last for 3 months, and I have been taking them for 2 weeks. I ordered a large quantity because I cannot find them in Rwanda's pharmacies.
Nk'ubu bigura gutya imiti.
iyi yose
How much does it cost you?
tumizi yangahe?
I have ordered these for 200,000 Rwandan francs.
Magana abiri.
These are pictures of me after the surgical operation. That's where they made the incisions. After the operation, water fluids appeared in the wounds, leading to consecutive operations since 2016. I will continue to have checkups and other procedures done in India. Here, I was in a coma. All those people who helped me, none of them are permanent. But God does his works and miracles on me.
wa mugani sometimes ibicisha muri uko kuririmba hari nubwo twiririmbira
Sometimes we sing and post in different groups, and then some people like it and help us.
ngatanga ubuhamya gutyo kuriya kwa Yago usanga Imana ikoresheje umuntu utidikiye ariko mbwiye ngo ngufashe iki
Birumvikana.
The children can now come and sing for us.
Baje banze batwereke iyo talent baturirimbira akantu gatoya bararirimba.
Shima kwimiruho yanjye yose
cyane.
yanyegereje umusaraba muri byose amahoro wangabiye anyungura ibyiringiro umurava kumbabarira sezerano dufitanye rinsunika hera ku birenge bye zaririmba zaririmbisha impundu nyinshi agakiza ke kankuya habi uko ndushaho kumwegera amaso yanjye arahumuka anzirikira ku birenge byiwe numva amagambo angomeza umutima wanjye uramukunda.
Wow.
Very nice.
Wow. Yeah.
rero bari twagiye biracyakomeza ahangaha twibitseho Imana kandi umuco w'iwacu
She's dancing the
Wow.
dance.
Wow.
rero namwe twe twiremera ibyishimo
Cyane.
Yago sha ye ye hey intore sha
Wow. Wow. Yeah, wow, wow. Yeah, very good.
Do they belong to any dancing groups?
They do it at their school.
In which school?
They attend Gisimba's school. Although they currently do not live in the boarding facilities, I want to enroll them there because I frequently have to go to the hospital and spend many days there.
Now,
Do you rent this place?
Yes, we rent it.
okay. Jeremiah Henry, he can have something to tell you. Maybe we translate for you.
So hello, thank you. I'm Jeremiah Henry, the founder of Green Lion Ministries, and I would like to thank you and your family for inviting us in today and telling your story. And presenting this monthly presentation in traditional dance for us. It was very interesting. This is what this campaign is all about, the genocide reconciliation, and I feel very honored to be here and share this with you, and share your story with others, and we will try to help any way that we can, and very, very happy to be here and listen. I know I can't even imagine the things that you have been through and seen. They're the most horrific of things in this world life has to offer. And to survive that is an absolute miracle. There is a reason that you're here. God kept you here alive and to meet with us today for a very special reason. So you're a very special person, very special woman, and your family is very special to us and to the world. And we're just happy to have you here and alive today. And I can't thank you enough for taking this time out and talking and sharing your story with us. Thank you so much.
But here they had
Those are
these YouTube videos will actually share.
those are children singing.
Right, yeah. That they asked her why did they kill young children in the genocide.
Yeah, abari bukurikira iki kiganiro link
We've dropped the link of their singing videos in the description. You can enjoy their special singing talent.
kirakomeye
Mm.